Good evening, everyone. Well, good evening from where I am. Good day to you all, and a happy Valentine. In the annals, this is Dr. D. Okafor. In the annals of mankind, there come times when our collective wellness rides on our meeting the urgent need to talk together. In a world increasingly pushed apart by our differences, there's no time as now to beat our drums of cooperation and dialogue. Welcome to the Talking Drum Show for deep dive into the issues, news, and truths that define our common humanity. Join us every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Come, let us reason together. Today's show is a dedication to the day of course, being Valentine's, to lovers and great relationships everywhere. And I would like to start by, noting that the good book tells us that the good Lord, man and woman, He created them and gave them the mandate to go forth to fill the world with fruitfulness and to multiply. I would like to think that this means that relationships are supposed to bring forth the good fruits of goodness and gladness amongst people everywhere. Therefore, every relationship we have is divinely guided. Yet in our times, we have seen relationships gone sour between lovers, as between countries, as between individuals in their interpersonal spaces. And this, of course, has led to a lot of negative dynamic in relationships with negative results, both for the people involved and for the world at large. In this season of love, therefore, it is befitting to study maiden edition of the Talking Drum with our discussion on love and relationships. I'll please ask you to welcome my co-host, MassiveMac, joining us live from Milan.
Wow, that's my main man, Dr. Okafor. Dr. Okafor, beautiful introduction there.
Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
Yes, it sank into me. Good one. The talking drum. Yes, you talked about the talking drum. The talking
Yes.
drum is an African instrument that speaks, like you said. It speaks when it's played.
When it
It
beats,
gives
when it beats, the
messages.
drummer
Yeah,
gives a message through it,
the
and
message to it.
this message is
And
received, the rhythm and melodies of the drum, yeah,
that's
by the
correct.
people
That's
listening,
correct.
right?
Yeah, by the
Yeah,
people listening. So we have a way of getting messages, signals, and messages, ciphers through the talking drum in Africa.
absolutely,
And that's what you're
absolutely,
doing. We brought it
yeah,
into the technology, we brought it into the virtual space, and we are
yes,
going to be drumming the beats and drumming all kinds of messages and discourse. Thank you.
absolutely. I just want to say we are supposed to have our co-host George today. He's unavoidably absent. Hopefully, he can join us before the show is over. But for now, we'll
Yes.
proceed with discussions on the show. So
Mm.
the main thing, Mark, is for me the the introductory view I have
Mhm.
I just gave. relationships are divinely guided.
Guided. That's
And
correct.
I am of the opinion that nothing happens in the universe without, the oversight of the divine. And so, much more so when it is between two people who sort of have come together to, I mean, if we have to use the specific context of lovers now, being Valentine, have come together to have a relationship and build a life together. I think it's
Mm,
extremely important that the difficulties that comes with bringing two different lives, usually adults, of course, who have always been, maybe not on their own, but have been always been away from each other, this new relationship or old relationship, whatever it may be. And then you're coming together to now weld your different, you know, viewpoints, outlooks, perspective on life together and merge into one. It can cause a lot of difficulties and friction. And so it is always necessary to, I think, communicate, share
mhm,
opinions, express oneself, keep nothing back, and develop that trust, build that trust over time. I want to ask you what your take is now on the idea of, the classic lover's spat. When two people, there always be issues, there always be disagreements, there always be quarrels. But one of the things we have to live with and deal with on a daily basis is disagreements. And
that's
when this
correct.
happens, yes, when this happens, it will become us to find ways and means of dealing with whatever is happening at that point in time, dispel negative energies, and continue to grow and move along together. Lovers part, lovers quarrels. Your take on that?
Yes. Beautiful. Good one, Dr. Okafor. There are things we need to put out. And like you said, this is talking from the men's standpoint, men's perspective. One of
Yeah,
such thing is the fact that there is no perfect man, Dr. Okafor. No perfect man
yeah,
exists.
agree,
Yes,
agree.
there is no perfect man. We are all we are developing, we're growing, we grow, we are
Every day.
maturing. There's no
Yeah,
matured person, it's a
yeah.
process, it's an everyday thing. So there is that misconception out there with the females that there's a perfect man, and that's a
Mm,
misconception. Um, the male gender, it's a beautiful gender. God's finest, one of God's finest creation is the man, But interestingly too, men are developing. Men go through stages every year of their life until they probably leave Earth. So that's a focal point that we must put out, and people must know. Females must know. So because young girls sometimes grow up thinking there's this Prince Charming, good looking, all perfect, good manners, good,
the clone of
and
daddy's clone.
that is so they look at daddy and equate daddy to what they want, and they don't even know that daddy too is going through a process himself. Daddy's still
Big
involved
things
in that.
now. Yeah,
You know? Am I
that's right.
correct? Is that correct? That was Dr.
I think you are. I mean, this our standpoint, of course, our POV point of view is that of men, but I think
Mhm.
it's both man and woman in
Yes,
this journey, in this
man and
discussion.
woman in this journey.
Um,
Yes, parent together is
Nobody is
yes.
perfect, like you rightly said. Everybody has to grow continually. If
Mm-hmm.
they are doing the right thing, we grow. It's when you don't, when there's no change, when there's no movement, that's when you're really in trouble. But as long as
In
you
trouble.
learn to move with the times and move with the challenges of life, then you probably be all right. And so it is for relationships. I think it behoves both people to understand that nobody's perfect, and
Good.
especially they say men are from Mars, women are from Venus, because of the different psychobiological functioning of the brains of the genders.
Mm-hmm.
One has to understand the other, and that is, I
Word.
think, the most important thing, pivot in
Yeah.
relationships.
Good.
Your
Now
woman
the
will want
other
to talk about
yes.
everything. Sorry, Mark. Your woman want to talk about everything. You probably don't want to talk a lot. But that doesn't mean that you should be irritated or bothered by her need to discuss. I think at that point you
Mm,
need to give a list. I mean, there's a whole lot, but it's understanding our differences, that they are not necessarily personal. It's not your wife, or it's not your spouse, it's not your partner that is like this. This is the nature of man. This is the nature of woman. And if you take it from that point of view, you'll be a little more patient to hear what she or he has personally to talk about.
once-
And I think as men, especially, as the they say we are the whatever. I don't believe that we are the stronger of the species. We are but I think we are supposed to be the head of the relationship, and the guider, and defender of the relationship. We should learn to accommodate and take the views of our spouse, our partners, and hear them out. Yes, they might go to lengths to express themselves, but it's our duty to be patient, to get them out, and to try to negotiate an understanding of whatever is going on. Because, of
very
course,
good.
we are very particular about things being done properly, especially in
Mm,
a relationship at home. And there's something as little as you forgot to buy a flower during Valentine can be, or to give a little bit of gift during the birthday can be quite upsetting to them. Whereas we don't
yes,
seem to care. Remember when a birthday comes around. But so
it
it's
can be.
important to know that there are differences that exist. It's not just one in your life that's like this. This is a universal design, and learn to work with it and to cooperate with it.
Nice. Moving on. Sorry, there is a comment from somebody there. Somebody said, "Hi, Mark Godwin, Dr. D.I. Okafor, and George Chuku." I think it's one of the people following us um, on the stream. So moving on.
I'm a,
Also,
yeah,
can you see
welcome.
what is
I can
written?
see the
Okay.
subtitle. Yes.
Okay. Somebody just wrote in that, and there are other comments too, but I think it's too lengthy to begin to read them out. Okay,
Yeah, that's
moving on this subject, what we're saying. Also, I'm giving my it's what I'm giving are the uh, main titles. Then later on, I might buttress on each one of them. One other thing I want to say is there's a problem in our time today, and that is a lot of people are equating, a lot of people are measuring relationship, men mostly, and women are measuring the men also with what they see on TV. The reality TV shows is taking over a lot of people's psyche. You know, women want to relate with their husbands, their men, with how some sitcoms, some TV programs have been showing them. And
yeah,
the truth of the matter is, we're in the real world, and the real world is not really the reality TV. Reality TV still
yeah,
has, as much as they call it reality, it's still there's still some background
this is
arrangements.
scripted.
It's still
Yeah.
scripted, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's something that also must be said. So many people are measuring their relationship with that, and it's not playing out well because eventually it will fall off. So that should be noted. Then the other thing I want to say is a lot of men now. I'm talking to my gender. They come
Yeah.
with this heavy luggage from the past relationship, past life, past everything, and they bring it into their own this new relationship. And you
Yeah.
find out that everything just crumbles because it's like bringing an excess baggage into the airport. You
You,
you'll be
you, you,
penalized.
you have problems with yeah, I'm
Yeah.
penalized
So
by
what would you
the
say? What do
character.
you think? What do you think about this, Dr. Okafor? What are you saying about that?
Yeah, well,
Excess baggage, our past
yeah, I think
relationship into a new relationship. I mean, a young
yeah,
man is getting married, new married life, and he's bringing probably some of the experiences he's gone through, maybe in school, in university, in college, and he's all that he's bringing it again instead of
yeah,
coming in fresh, you know,
Yes.
and coming in fresh means you have to accept the fact that this is a new relationship, unless the person doesn't want to work that relationship out.
Yeah.
So coming in fresh involves starting all over again, accepting those flaws and whatever it is that must have happened in the past, and sometimes traumas too. Men go through
Mm-hmm.
trauma. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
men go through trauma. Trauma is not only for the women. A lot of men have
Yeah.
gone through some
Absolutely.
serious
Everyone goes through. Yeah.
I've once had a
Absolutely.
friend
That-
that
yeah.
grew up with his stepfather, and the stepfather didn't treat him well. He abused him. At every provocation, he gets smacked down. You know. So this
That's
man,
unfortunate.
and he's not a
Yes.
man now. He's a man now, but he has that past on him, and it still occurs on him. You know, sometimes he tells me he still remembers it. So I think it's an issue, and you find out that such a person probably goes into a new relationship sometime with that experience, and it becomes an excess baggage in the new relationship. What will you say, Dr. Okafor?
Network is a yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
The
I
network
can.
was a bit. Yeah. So I wanted to address the first
Mhm,
thing that you said about the role of the seemingly adverse role of the media effects on
mhm.
the perception of partners in a relationship, where they try
Okay.
to, they measure their partners by what they see on TV. I think before we
Mm,
had television and social media, we had fairy tales, and it was the same
yes.
thing. The idea that you have a perfect Prince Charming, or or you know,
Prince Charming.
Beauty or
Uh-huh.
Cinderella, after her transformation. Yeah, so anyway, that this is a part of mankind. We have, to live with the artistic expressions of our times and
Mhm,
make an effort to understand, like you said, to divorce them from reality. These things are
mm.
for entertainment value. Um, they are mostly functional, even when it's a reality show, like we have said here. It's mostly
Scripted.
studio canned, scripted, and prepackaged. So your
Mhm,
reality is your exclusive preserve, in a relationship. And the thing is
mhm,
to turn and face that when you turn away from the TV screen and give it its due attention and due respect, away from any other influences, be it television or even, from your immediate social circles. People
mhm,
always try to intrude and advise, and whether they are friends or sisters or parents, to
mhm,
try and contribute to the relationship, but often not in a helpful direction. And
mhm,
then this also is a good segue into the next thing we're talking about, which is the fact that people come with baggages, and that is why it's important to take your relationship for what it is. If you
okay.
have at any point accepted somebody as your partner, it's because you saw something in them that you can work with. And hopefully that continues to evolve and grow and become better. But in opening up the boxes that they come with, you might find some things that are not really agreeable. Because Massive Mac, I have to tell you, it is not intentional for somebody to carry baggage from the past. It
Mm,
is the psychological design of the human. We have a
okay.
consciousness and we have a subconscious. And even when
Okay.
we're not conscious of something, experiences from the past sink into the subconscious and play out, even when we're not deliberately trying to make it do so. So people are always going to be the sum total of their past experiences, whether you
Okay.
like it or not. And that is
Very.
why it's important to go into a relationship with the maturity to know that I would come across things that I may not have seen from
Mhm,
the get go, things that are not, playing out on the surface, and that
mm,
I'm ready to work with this person, as long as it's not, of course, dangerous to your health, or within normal limits. Work with this person to reach some sort of understanding and some sort of working agreement with whatever it is they're coming over
Mhm.
with. Because
Mhm.
yes, people would have grown up and had experiences. You mentioned the one with the abusive stepfather. That person
Mhm.
gets around and gets very rude and gets very angry with any little thing. It will be from it will be where he's coming from. And that's the point where you can ask, what do you think is making you so angry? Why are you like this? And hopefully, and that's another thing I have to say to us men. We keep back too much. We hold back too much. And it
Okay.
is extremely important to say this. Um, there's no gain in, hiding your feelings. There's nothing to gain in bottling things all up. It's only going to give you high blood pressure and, mental stress and all that. Talking about things, taking the lead of women, talking about things and expressing yourself and sharing is extremely important. You know, when you share your burden, you already have to do it. So it is important for us men to be able to speak to somebody over something that's bothering us, or a hurt that we are carrying, or a pain that we are carrying, whether it's a friend or your pastor, or it's important to share, and don't
Mm.
just keep it bothered. There's nothing manly about it. There's nothing macho about it. It's important to talk to people because, of course, more heads are better than one, and you'll be able to see on perspectives that you've never seen before. Um, Discover viewpoint points of view about even your own personal problems that it wasn't given to you to get. And that's why sharing. If you can't share with your spouse, which is the ideal thing, share with somebody else who's a significant other around you,
I
a
think
mentor.
Dr. Okafor, what you're saying is real
I'm with
big.
you. Yeah,
Yes, what you're
yeah,
saying is real big. I think the idea of men keeping and mumbling up their emotion, I think that time is fading
yeah,
off. We have found out
yeah,
that more of these problems people go through is as a result of mumbled up emotions and feelings. The women cry, and some men think that is too feminine, but that thing helps them. Women cry. Women also express themselves. Women talk. You know, they get a friend, they look for a colleague or somebody, and tell
yeah,
their problem. And those things really do help women. If you look at it, the numbers,
yeah,
statistics
yeah,
has more. Yes, the statistics. I mean, you know that has more women alive, more women getting older than even men. Just a few numbers of
yeah,
men
yeah,
we
yeah,
have staying up to that very old age. I think it's important
yeah.
we put out this what you're saying, that it's time for men to pour out their feelings. There's no point hiding all these pain and all this agony. You know,
Yeah.
there's no point hiding those, suppressing it. So
It does nobody any good. Absolutely.
it does nobody any good,
You
or
know,
unless I want to put this now, unless probably it's that person is very very spiritual and praise. That's the only thing that could make you
yeah, but
want
then
to.
again, then you're talking to God. You are still
Yes,
talking
that's
to
you're
somebody.
talking to
The effect is the
exact.
same.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. If you're talking to God,
So,
good for you.
yes,
Reading your
yes, good
Bible
for
and finding inspiration and succor from that, you're doing
you. Mhm.
something. Yeah,
You're doing
yeah, you're doing
something.
something. Well, yeah. So the problem is not doing anything.
The problem's
The
not doing
danger
anything.
is
So mobile
yeah,
up
yeah,
emotions leads to
yeah.
a lot of problems. Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
Um, because men grew up thinking that makes you macho, that makes you
Yeah,
masculine. That's a man. He can take all the stress and still be calm, and that's not helping
absolutely.
him
Yeah,
psychologically. It's not helping him emotionally. So
yeah.
it's time we
That's it.
put that out and let our men know. Saying something out to a friend, getting a friend to express whatever feelings, whatever you're going through, is no crime. Unless, like you said, you're praying to God, and that also involves talking. So it's still talking, you know. So also, Dr. Okafor, there is something that needs to be said, and that is most men also a bad experience. is always an example, is always brought forward in their new relationship.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Do you understand what I mean? You understand what I mean? Yes, a lot of bad experience. You know, the truth of the matter is, a
I think I'm
survey
following.
has,
Yeah, but
yes.
before that,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead. That.
yeah. I was going to say that's a subset. It's it's like what we have just discussed just now, about the
Hmm.
carrying of baggages, and which actually is a very common thing, very normal thing, because it's such a natural thing, natural reality that we'll have some bad experiences in our past,
Yes.
some more than others, and
Hmm.
these things can
Hmm.
become a part of who we are, and then you can affect your interaction in new relationships. Well, what I would like
No,
to
no, no.
talk about before we run out of time.
Okay.
Sorry, go
Okay.
ahead,
Go
go ahead.
ahead. Okay. Yes. What
Yeah,
I wanted
is
to go a little bit further
yeah,
in the relationship thing. You know, there's a
okay,
survey. There's some statistics that is out, that has been out for some time now, but we didn't know this. Do you know, Dr. Okorafor? Maybe you know. I know you know because you're in this field. Um,
yeah,
Men easily fall in love. Men do easily fall in love. So because of
yep,
so, men can get obsessed. Men can get extremely jealous and obsessed in a relationship. And in
hmm,
most cases, you see why we've had these too many killing of spouse of their girlfriends, their wives, and all this, like we have all over the world. It's obsession, and that's because men actually do fall in love. They fall in love very easily. In fact, a man um, 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 speed to falling in love is far greater than the woman. Yes, this
I
is
think
what. Mhm.
I
Go
get
ahead.
what you're saying. I don't know whether it boils down to such simple analysis or simple take on things.
Mhm.
Men are obviously are designed to love beautiful things. They're beautiful women,
Mhm.
the women in their lives, and this is the design. And in that situation, they will be a little bit less objective in thinking
Mhm.
about what is going to happen next. It's about winning the damn self. They've seen a woman, it's become sort of a trophy they have to go for. And this is the universal design of men. And they want to go for it. And the winning her attention, once you have that visual, you've locked, you're locked in on her as a target for your your romantic approaches, then it becomes a goal that you have to win without even having any side views. You're focused, you're locked on that. Whereas women, of course, have this constant 360-degree view of life. And so, yeah, that's the natural thing. I don't know whether it's what leads to whether it's obsession that leads to that. I think it's more of everything we have been talking about before, where there is no mechanism in place for people to get over whatever hurdles they either meet in the relationship or they are bringing with them in the past. And some of that we have addressed. Of course, there are so many other things one can do, counseling and all that, but we have addressed some of that today in terms of the basic tool we have, which is communicating with one another, or at least
That's correct.
sharing our problems, our burden with others, and getting other people to help you see the proper point of view. But I think it also leads to what I was trying to bring in, which is
Mhm.
the eternal question of what do women want, you
What do
know?
women
And
want?
I think when we say this, we are talking about the you know age old male perplexity with about the nature of women, right? So
That's correct.
they, like you rightly said, they see a woman, and whether it's the puppy love of youth, or the more matured instances as adults, we see a woman, we fall in love headlong, and we go for it and try to and then when we are enwrapped in that supposedly very desirable relationship, we begin to see the challenges of understanding the woman. and then we say hold our heads and say, I don't know what women want. But I think men have to really try. People have all kinds of lists about what women want. Some of them are not, they are more for comedy effect than anything else. But I think it boils down to just a few essential things. A woman wants to be appreciated, and a woman wants to be loved, right?
And a man wants to be respected and wants to be
Sorry,
loved.
wants
And
to
a
be
man
loved.
is, yeah, a man
Well,
wants to be
I was
respected.
coming to that. I was just
Okay.
going to say next that the Holy Book says for the woman to honor the man and for the man to love the woman. The woman
Mm,
wants to be loved, and you do a whole lot of good simply by giving to your woman the time and attention that she deserves, no matter how long the relationship has been, especially when the relationship has been long. Therefore, she has put a lot into your common. You guys have put a lot into your common life, and therefore she's a lot more meaningful to you than anything else. So this could be something as simple as buying high flour every now and then. You go
mm.
out, you get a piece of whatever that she likes. Could be a bowl of her favorite food from her favorite restaurant, or a
Yes.
meat pie from something that shows that you are aware of her presence in your life and you appreciate it. And it's as simple as that.
That's
Words of endearment, terms of endearment, darling,
mm,
baby. I don't think you talk to your wife without saying using some term of endearment, honey, baby, or something. You know, so it is a constant obligation on the part of men to treat their women with a lot of softness, no matter what is going on. I think even if you guys are quarreling, you should still say, "Baby, what's going on." There's a constant need because that's the nature, that's the basic nature of a woman to be appreciated. Everyone wants to be appreciated, but especially
everybody.
in a relationship, a man should learn to show little acts of love at all times. You know, it doesn't take much, I think, with women. They don't ask for too much. You just have to be present in that expectation that you would, show some form of some form of affection, some form of endearment in little ways. A rose, whatever,
Whatever.
a box of candy, right candies, anything you can do, a hug here, a kiss there, you know, a hand holding here. Those are the only things they ask for, and it goes a long way to really get your woman on side with you at all times.
But Dr. Okorafor, as simple as what you said, it's hard for a lot of men
Yeah,
to do those things. It's
that's why I
pretty
said
hard.
it. Yeah, that's why I
Yes.
said it. I mean,
It's pretty
some of us get to find out these things
hard.
very late in life, but it is not. Is again is the mass men from Mars and women from Venus problem. It is not. Yeah, it's because we are so different in our makeup. We tend to expect. Sometimes it's almost as if we think the man is just one of the guys, one of the boys. The woman is just one of the
Mm,
boys, right? And therefore, she's supposed to understand, or she's supposed to get it that you love her. She's supposed to get it that it's because of how you're working so hard. You're supposed to get it. You're supposed to know, But they are more into seeing, the physical evidence of it. It cannot be abstract. You have to bring it into the physical space.
you have to bring
Do
it in.
something to show, to connect. Yes, you're going out to work and pay the bills, but you still have to show it. That's just the nature of the situation. And so a lot of men do miss that. They expect women to understand how hard they work. How much they love them. It's supposed to be abstractly conjured, but that's not
Mm,
the nature of a woman. Yeah, of course,
that's
women are very intelligent, extremely intelligent, and they get this. But there's also a need, I find, to express this in little acts of endearment, and this it's a mischief to most men, you know,
yes.
but it's the
Yes.
truth of things and it needs to be said. Little
Nice.
things, little things you do go a long way to, get your woman on side with you.
Wow. This is beautiful. I think for starters, you've set the record straight here, Dr. Okafor. Um,
Thank you so much.
a wise man said, "Iron sharpens iron." So does a
Absolutely.
man sharpens the countenance of his friend. So even
Yeah.
if some men think they have it all, they know it all. I mean, this is like iron sharpening iron. Learning
Absolutely.
who
No,
is
no,
doing it.
no one man is an island, right?
That's correct. That's
Hmm.
it. No one man is an island. So you said it. You said this record straight, loud and clear. So a moment pop. I want to also add that moments like this. Yes, the world all over is celebrating the Val thing, but
Yeah.
for us, the real men, Val is all through. There's no special day for Val. I mean,
Exactly.
it's
And that's
supposed to
that's really, yeah, that's a good take on my point.
be good. Yes, with what
That
you're saying.
vow should be every day. Yeah.
Yes, should be every day with what you're saying. So
Yeah.
we should go all out. That when one has that deep love for his partner, he just shows it every day, every day, every day. And we don't get tired doing it. So
I'm not even sure.
um,
I'm not even sure if it's necessary. It's just basic decency. When you get into a relationship, which is an unspoken contract with somebody, there's
mhm.
the obligation to care for that person's feelings and that person's needs. And so it's even before we begin to put the label of love on it, it's just basic decency, the ability to meet your obligation in a relationship. And if that now includes, as it does, the need to be sensitive to the feelings of your partner and what makes those feelings feel better, then of course it's your duty. It's actually a duty,
It's a
not a
duty.
choice. And it's
Yes,
the
it is.
application of that duty that we have a lot of problems with men.
Nice, nice. So also, I know as we go on the program, we'll be digging into some other things because somebody just sent a
Yeah.
message now. I'm looking at it here. He says, "Do a real man needs to hide secrets from his partner?" I don't know what that person means, but that's the text message I'm getting here. Did you hear that? He said, "Does a
Yeah,
man
I
need
heard
to
that.
message secret message from his partner?" So what will you say about that?
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know.
first of all, to thank the person for posting the question to us.
Yes,
It's a big question, and it's an important one because, of course, um, when we are in a relationship, we are supposed to be ideally one. I think we are narrowing this to long-term relationships,
that's
where you probably marital relationship or common law, whether it is partners, life partners. It's important to understand that whereas there are several things that we may have in our personal lives that may not be pleasant to for us to talk about, but I think the ones that have the potential for impacting relationship, whether it's finances, your relationship with other people before, in which you might have things like children, or some family issues that you've had. I think those things are important to share with a person that's in the same life vehicle with you, because of course it has a way of showing up in the future. What you did when you were a young person, how you went on the party rave, and what you did, that's not important. How you made a fool of yourself during your youth. I don't think that comes up. But when they are life issues, and I don't think you should take that away from the table when you are in a long-term relationship, in a serious relationship. I think it boils down to not lying. There's never an excuse to lie. If you are called upon to explain something about yourself to your spouse, who you are really in love with and who you have a serious relationship with, I think it behoves you to share this. You may share it in measures, or little doses at a time. But it's important, as far for as long as it makes you comfortable, whatever makes you comfortable. But it's important to share this because you can have, for example, and this happens surprisingly all the time. You've had a child somewhere else, and you come to a new partner and you say you don't have children, as if you could hide that. That's bound to show up later.
It
You
will.
know, you have a debt that you are owing that's going to come back and owe you, and you pretend as if it's not there. So I call this life issues, and you ought to share that with your partner. There are things that are not important that it's not likely to come up. Some, misdemeanor you had as a child or as a younger person not much long ago, or instead of course something happens to lead to that, and then you might have to explain. Those are things that are not important. You don't have to
Very
overload the table here, but
yes.
situations
But
that impact.
and we must specify that this is we're talking of long-term relationship, like you said.
Yes,
That's important
especially
to say.
long-term relationships.
Yeah,
But even in
not
short-term relationships,
individual, not individual.
there's always room for the truth, and for
Yes,
transparency. Yeah, but
that's true.
I'm narrowing it down to those relationships where you have an obligation for disclosure to your spouse, your partner. It's extremely important that we do not hold anything back. Um, I think the simple formula for looking at this is this: would that secret potentially impact her?
Hmm.
If it does, you got to share it. It amounts to a short changing of the person if you don't. If it has the potential to impact her life, her welfare, then you should share that. Absolutely.
Hmm. So somebody just wrote again.
Are
We're
you with
having
me?
some
I
good.
think the network's a bit.
Yes. Can you hear me? I can hear you. I can hear you.
Mark, are you still with me?
Yes, I can. I
You
can.
went
I
off
hear
there
you
for
loud.
just to be a little. Yeah.
That will be your network. You are loud here. You're clear and it's loud. So we don't have the time, but there's another one that says, "Why are men had to? Why are men afraid?
Sorry.
Why?" Somebody's putting a question here. We're having some good response here. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, somebody is writing, "Why?
I can hear you now.
Why are men afraid of commitments?" Is that true? I don't think that is true.
Why are men afraid of
Yeah,
commitment?
somebody just wrote on the block now.
That's the question? Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, I always like to thank the contributor for that question. And I think that's a very broad-based question. Commitment to what
Yes,
is my question, right?
yes.
And if
That's a
you narrow it down to the commitment to a relationship to get married, then I think it's something that comes off really from the cultural and sociocultural background of the person you're dealing with, and perhaps also because of certain personal issues. I'll give you an example. The typical Igbo man, I'm an Igbo man, does not feel he should get married until he is able to cater fully for his family. He's so defined by independence in caring for his family that he will not step into that enterprise unless he feels capable of doing it financially without asking for anybody to help. And so that might slow down his willingness to step into a relationship, not because he doesn't want it, but because he doesn't feel prepared to. And some
wow.
people may not want to, yeah, I mean,
That's
that's just the truth. Yeah, and some people may not want to go into a relationship because they are keenly, sharply aware of their obligations in that relationship. For example, the sharing of secrets we just talked about, and they are not ready to cross that yet. But I want to be so bold as to say that nobody loves
mhm.
being in a relationship. Nobody loves wanting a partner, a female partner, a life partner in their life than men. You know, the men I know.
Mm,
We are really, really committed to having somebody that we can cherish and hold. It is the
nice.
life drama that surrounds all that that sometimes creates the illusion of hesitancy, that we are hesitating. But really, there's something about that man's condition or situation that is giving cause for pause. Not necessarily I went through a situation where recently where I had to counsel a lady because she was like, he came to me and was complaining, said, I think this somebody, a friend of mine's to be bright, and say, I think he doesn't love me. I think he doesn't want to do this, and I think it's like I'm forcing him into it. But knowing my friend very well, and knowing, understanding their situation, I sat her down and say, he's not he loves you a lot. What he doesn't have is the money, the financial well-being for the project you're embarking on. And that might make it look like he's hesitating. You're asking him to bring this long list of money to go and pay the bride price and do the native law and custom. He's not ready to do that, because not because he doesn't want to, because he can't afford it. And he's telling you, can't we just send some letter and some money in an envelope to your parents at home? It's not because he doesn't love you, it's because that is what he feels he can afford. And when she saw that, understood that view, she came down, they worked together, and thank God the thing was successfully done a few weeks ago. So it
Wow.
is really circumstantial restraints on the psyche of the man that often holds him back. And it is important to be able to look, talk about that, get around it, and see if it can be negotiated away. But usually there are real life obstacles that the man has to deal with, like some of the examples I've given, and especially when it's culturally inbred into the man, and it's hard to get rid of. Most of us men in Nigeria, especially, we get married very late because of this same phenomenon. We come across women that we love, but we don't feel ready. We are, it's not commitment shy, but we are, marriage shy, because not for the marriage itself, because of the cost of wedding and of putting a family together. And yet nobody loves, as much as we do. We really love our women and love our families, love our children, but it's a big leap because of the financial, and the pride. Just the male pride. You don't want anybody to, you don't want to ask anybody for the means to do what you need to do as a man, and that can get in the way.
Wow. Sweet, smooth words, Dr. Okafor. Smooth words. Good one.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think our time is running. It's supposed to be an hour program, and we've even gone beyond. So maybe some of the other comments will come in subsequent edition. So this is it, Talking Drums.
Just want to quickly remind everyone that
right.
it's a program that's going to cover all kinds of topics,
Yes.
political, entertainment, religion,
Nice.
the questions about God, and why we're here and what's life about. So existential issues like that. So please do join us every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okafor. I think we will take a bow now and leave our. Yes, beautiful, good one. You started it up well. Thank you. So I'm out, and till we come next week.
Happy Valentine to everyone. Yeah.
Happy Valentine to you, my brother.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.